Today I have an older ASUS laptop. I am going to clone the hard drive onto a new SSD, then install the SSD. I'll show you how to do it. Hey guys, how's it going? Dale here. Today I have an older ASUS laptop. It's a X550ZA. I will have the specs on the screen there for you. Basically, in this laptop, it's an older one, 4 or 5 years old probably. Needs Windows 10, needs to be updated for sure, which I'll do once I'm done doing what I'm doing. It's got the original 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive in it. It's kind of sluggish, kind of a slow booter. These people don't really do anything with it except look at trail cam pictures on their SD cards, a little bit of light internet, and some basic printing and stuff like that. It's not a real high-end computer. It is an AMD A10 quad core. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. Got a DVD drive. But basically, they decided to go with a 250 gig Western Digital Blue 250 gig SATA SSD. Now you could easily go with a 500 gigabyte or 1 terabyte in place of the mechanical hard drive, no problem. But they're not looking for space. They just want it to be faster. This will definitely do the job. So I'm going to attempt to clone using my USB to SATA adapter here. I'll have a link down below where you can get one of these. They only cost a few bucks. We're going to use the Acronis True Image from Western Digital, or the Western Digital Acronis True Image. It's good cloning software. It is free. I'll have a link down below where you can go and download it from Western Digital website. A lot of the manufacturers use the Acronis True Image. Crucial, Kingston, some other ones. But anyway, I plugged in the drive, the adapter into the SATA drive. It's USB 3.0. Just going to plug it into a USB port over here. Now, before we get into the cloning real quick, now of course, you could just install the SSD, do a clean install, back up all your data, do a clean install of Windows 10 if you wanted to. But for the sake of the video, I just want to see if we can get a good clone here. And then once it's cloned, I'll open it up, install the new drive, boot it up, then I'll do all my updating on Windows and tune it up and that kind of stuff. Now, before you do a clone this way, it's always a good idea, number one, to disable as much stuff as you can that's running in the background. If you just go to your Microsoft configuration utility here, open up Task Manager, either or. You want to disable, like if you go to Services, click on the Services tab up here, click on this box that says Hide All Microsoft Services. Disable everything in here that's not Microsoft. You can turn this stuff back on later if you want. You want to make sure you leave any Acronis stuff enabled if you've already installed the software, which I already have. So, and then if you go to your Startup tab up here, where it says Startup, then go to Task Manager. Just go ahead and right click on all this stuff in here and hit Disable, which I've already done, again, except the Acronis stuff. So, and then do a restart on your computer. The other thing to do before you clone is to make sure you don't have any drive encryption turned on. Disable all the power management because you don't want it going into sleep mode right in the middle of your clone. That could booger things up. And sometimes you could, if we go to my computer here, shortcut they got there, right click on your, excuse me, on your C drive, go to Properties, and then go up here where it says Tools. And click on check. It'll check the drive for any errors. It might tell you to do a reboot to do it, which is fine, but you might want to do that first. Just some maintenance stuff you can do before you start the clone. You don't want to be using the computer during the cloning process. So anyway, I have lots of other videos on cloning. You can go check them out on my channel there. This is just one method. So anyway, I've already downloaded and installed the Acronis True Image from Western Digital. I got the shortcut right here. That's the download. So I'm just going to double click it. I'm going to hit yes. Now you got to have a Western Digital drive in the loop to do this. Now if the drive inside was already a Western Digital, that would work. That's fine. Or the one plugged in the USB port. So I'm going to click on Clone Disk. Sorry if I seem like I'm going kind of quick. I just got a lot of other jobs I got to get done here, guys. I'm going to click on Automatic. It's recommended. I'm just going to hit Next. This is our source drive. That's the Toshiba hard drive that's inside here. So I'm going to hit Next. Now this process here can take some time. Got to be patient. It's going to go out and gather all the partition information and other stuff it needs to do cloning. So you just got to be patient for this, where it says this right here. Just got to wait. Typically on a busy day, we take them all apart, we pop out the hard drive, we go over to our cloning computer over there and plug it into one of our bays and just clone it over there. We use Acronis most of the time as well. We've had really good luck with it over the years. And they go really quick outside the computer, quite quick actually, usually 10-15 minutes for a full clone. Really depending on the speed of your computer when you're doing this type of clone, that affects how fast it goes as well, your processor speed mainly. So I'll try not to talk too much during this process, guys, but once the clone gets started, I'll cut out, then I'll come back when we're just about ready to wrap it up. Then I'm going to open this bad boy up and install that new drive and hope we get a good clone. And make sure you got your AC adapter, your power cord plugged in. If you're doing this on a laptop, you don't want the battery dying in the middle of your clone. All right, so now we're going to choose the target disk, which is right here, our Western Digital 250 gig. I'm going to hit next. It's going to do the same process. Shouldn't take quite as long on this step because it's a brand new drive. To the motherboard. All right, so here we go. That looks real good. You can see there's going to be a lot of extra space. So at this point, you just click on Proceed down here on the bottom. And it's going to do locking partition and a few other things before it gets into the actual clone. But once it gets started, I'll just cut away and I'll come back when it's almost done. Now we can install the new SATA SSD. Alright, so it looks like it's going to calculate the time remaining here, and it's going to get into the cloning portion of this momentarily. So like I said, guys, I'll cut away here and I'll be back when this is just about ready to wrap up, and we'll get it installed and hope for a good clone. All right, guys, it's right at the end here. It's on the last phase here. It says synchronizing with the operating system. Less than 1 minute left, approximately. Actually, this clone went faster than I thought it would. Probably about 15-18 minutes, something like that, so that's pretty good. But like I said, they didn't have a lot of stuff on here. All right, the disk was successfully cloned, so now we can just tell us to turn off the computer, take out the source drive, and put in the new drive. So let me close out the program. I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down. Let me zoom back out here a little bit, guys. Okay, so we're going to shut down, unplug the drive. Hopefully we got a good clone. And we'll get right into opening this thing up. Unplug my mouse here. I was using the mouse so my hand wasn't in the way here. Unplug Mr. Power Cord. All right, guys. So, like I said, hopefully we got a good clone on our SATA SSD. Now I've already taken out the screws. I don't usually do that on camera because it's boring. Lay out your screws in some way where you know where they go back. On this model here, it's got two sizes of screws. These three along the front here are the real short ones here, and all the other ones are quite long. So just make sure you put them back in the right holes. You guys can see. All right, let me zoom back a little bit. Oop, wrong way. All right, so I'm going to get my plastic spudger tool. Like I said, that palm rest is going to lift up. So I'm going to get into use this little plastic spudger. Looks like a guitar pick, but I'll put a link down below where you can buy a bag of these for a couple of bucks. I'm just going to get it into a seam here, usually in a corner. Good place to start. And I'm just going to start lifting it up. Don't be getting in a hurry. Don't use metal tools. Make sure you're protected against static electricity before you start poking around in there, and don't touch anything you absolutely do not have to touch. Good rule of thumb. Just gotta get, once I get this started, which I did, I'm gonna flip it back over. Oops. I always do that when I grab a hold of it. I pinch it back shut. Into the seam here. Like I just did there. All right, so I'm hoping you can see this, but when you lift this up, that's about as far as you want to go. There's 3 cables we got to disconnect from the little motherboard in there. Got this one here for the keyboard, this one here for the touchpad, and this one here for the power switch. These 2 here have little, let me see if I can zoom in there a little bit for you. These 2 here have these little clip, yeah, that's not working. Sorry guys, it's kind of hard doing this by myself. Anyways, you got 2 little levers here we got to flip up for the touchpad and the power switch. Get your fingernail in there or a plastic little tool. Get those disconnected. Just don't break those little clips. The keyboard here has the kind of clip that kind of pushes back. I don't like these kind. Just gently push the little clip back. Doesn't take much, and then remove the cable for the keyboard. And we'll get the palm rest out of the way there. So this is what we got. Here's the hard drive that we're going to take out. There's 4 mounting screws to hold it in right here in each corner. Got to disconnect this little cable right here. We're just going to flip that lever up and carefully get that out of there. Okay. Then we're going to take those mounting rails off the hard drive and put them on the SATA SSD there. Okay. So let me get those screws out of there. I'm using a number 0 Phillips screwdriver here. It works good. Just be very careful. The battery is still hooked up. If you're really careful, guys, and don't drop screws or screwdrivers, you should be okay. Because on these ones, the battery actually connects underneath the back side of the motherboard here. It is, you can remove it, but in this case, I'm not, because it's just a hard drive, and I'm not taking the motherboard out. Just be very careful you don't drop a screw on your board in here, and kind of move them away from the board as you go. All right, just those 4 screws, and then this is gonna, let me get this cable out of the way here. Just kind of bend that back out of the way carefully. This drive is gonna slide out of the SATA connector here, just like that. That was actually pretty easy. Get this out of the way. And there's just 4 screws, 2 on each side, that hold it in the, hold the rails on there. I'm just gonna put it back on the same way you take it off, you know, on the new drive here. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go up to a number 1 Phillips screwdriver here. Got a little more bite to it for these heavier duty screws. If you got a little cordless screwdriver, you can use that too, which I do, but I don't know, for some reason people always yell at me in the comments for using my cordless. I got several types, but for this kind of thing it doesn't really matter. I'm not taking the motherboard out. So I'm going to take this rail off and put it right back on. Same way on the new SATA SSD. Just screw it back in, it only goes one way, guys. I mean, you can't really see that, but I'm just putting in a screw, so it's not brain surgery. Make sure your holes are lined up. Just make them snug, they don't have to be ridiculously tight. Oops, take this one off. Oh Lord, that one's on there tight. Way too tight. That's why I like my cordless, it grabs them and gets them right out of there. Anyway, we're just gonna flip this one over here. Get the old clunky hard drive out of the way, but still a good drive, still got their data on it. So in case something goes wrong, we need it again. We don't want to be throwing darts at it just yet. Again, this is just one cloning method, but if you're doing this at home, it's probably going to be the easiest for you. Oops. Get that hole lined up there. Come on. Alright, it's not cooperating. Oh, there we go. Sorta. Just gotta get that hole lined up. A little tricky. Alright, so we got that mounted. We're just going to simply slide it back into place here. Carefully. Just drop it in carefully without touching the metal on anything on the motherboard. Lock it back in. Move this up a little bit. Put our 4 corner screws back in there, guys. Alright, now I'm going to hook this cable back up here. Can't be careful flipping those levers up. Take your time, because you break one of those off. That's not a good thing. Getting these back in there, hopefully. It's hard for you to see, but I just got to get the right angle here, guys. It only goes in one way, Dale. There we go. They got little lines on those cables where it kind of lines up right to the edge of the little clip that you push down, so you know you got it in all the way. Now the palm rest is a little trickier because I only got 2 hands, but I've done a million of these, so I think I can get it in there. So we're just going to kind of get this in to where it goes, sorta. I'm going to do the keyboard first, so bear with me while I try to slide this in. I just don't like these types of keyboard clips because when you slide the cable in, it tends to push the clips back. Alright, that went in pretty easy actually. So that one locked in there good. Right here. And then I'm going to do the touchpad. Second. Maybe. Nothing worse than getting this all pressed back down and your touchpad or power switch don't work because you didn't have the cable in all the way. So just take your time, get those lines and the cables lined up to the edge of the clip, and you should be golden. And there, we got all 3 of them locked in. There, so I'm going to go ahead and snap this together, but I'm not going to button it up with all the screws until I know I don't have to clone it again or end up doing a clean install. Alright, get the tools out of the way. Plug in the power cord, might as well. Hit the power button. Sometimes Windows wants to do a scan the drive. Well, we'll see here when you first hook it up. This is normal. It says to skip disk checking, press any key. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to let that go. It's going to scan all the partitions. That was the first one. And when it gets to the main partition, it's probably going to take a few minutes. Oh, maybe not. Oh, looks like we got a good clone. I got a lot of tuning up and updating on this. I think this only has 1909 edition of Windows 10 on it because they don't get on the internet very often, and their internet I think is a hotspot, so they're missing quite a few feature updates. I'll get at least 20H2 on it, maybe 21H1 for them. So there, you can see that we got a good clone. Let's go to their my computer shortcut real quick. So here's this 11 gigabyte data partition. You can use like mini tool partition wizard. You won't be able to do it in disk management. It's only 11 gigabytes. I'm not really too worried about it because the partitions have to be right next to each other to do it in disk management. Let's see, which they almost never are. Yeah, see, we got this guy in between here. So if we deleted that and tried to merge it with that, it won't because it has to be right here, but it's over there. Mini tool or many other types of partition, free ones you can download, which I'll probably do. Just to get that 11 gigabytes over here on the C drive. That's just kind of a 11 gigabytes of waste of space. So I will take care of that for them. It's no big deal. See that all the time on the ASUS, all the time. I could have just did it over there on my cloning station before I put it back in, but I didn't. I knew it was going to be small. So anyway, we got a good clone. That's how you install the drive in the X550Z. I hope the video was helpful, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. Have a great day.